Hi, Dave Culmer here for Veterans News, segment 13. We're going to talk about service officers again, and with us we have again our illustrious guest, Rick Seaman. Rick, it's good to have you back.
Hey, once again, glad to be back. It's always a pleasure working with Dave. And, Dave, on the earlier segment that we started off with, I mentioned your career of 22 years with the VA. What I didn't mention, though, is that Dave, you were also, after that, with the vet centers for 12 years.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vet centers, just a great program, co-founded by our good friend and associate, Shad Meshad, along with Reverend Bill Mahidi.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working for the VA in 1978, when they went to Washington to sell the program to Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And ultimately, it's history now because it's a done deal.
Right.
And just as a matter of information, when Washington initially opened the program, it was to have been for a year. And before the year was over, they extended it for another 2 years.
Okay.
And before the 2 years passed, they said they were going to close the vet centers.
Oh, really?
Correct. And then they got a lot of flack, and they continued to extend them on for another couple of years. And it had been like that for the first 6 or 8 or 10 years of the existence of the vet centers, until they found the need was so significant that they decided to take away the thought of closing the vet centers, and that they were only going to be temporary.
Right. Dave, do you think today, currently, with the returnees coming out of Iraq, Afghanistan, a lot of PTSD, TBI, do you see, like, with the vet centers, almost, I don't want to use the word resurgence, but there's going to be a big boom of vets going to these vet centers. Are you seeing that?
There is. I see more and more Iraqi and Afghanistan veterans on an ongoing, regular, trickling in basis. So they clearly are. There are more, and there will continue to be more.
Right.
So, and the vet centers, I think, are an outstanding source of therapy and counseling for these guys.
Right.
For any veterans, they now need to be a combat veteran to be seen at vet centers. At one point in time, they didn't have to be, but the law changed, and now they must be a combat veteran because of the laws mandated. That's the requirement these days.
I see. Mm-hmm. I see. In Vietnam, we used to say, referred to a combat vet as coming from the bush.
Or being in the bush, right.
Being in the bush. Right. And as important as the vet centers were, the Vietnam vets, they seem like they're really important now to these Iraq and Afghanistan vets. Mm-hmm. And that we really have to, the country has to make sure that these vet centers stay up and running.
Yeah.
Because we need them now more than ever, wouldn't you say?
I don't think there's a problem now today with the vet centers, not continuing to stay open. I think everybody knows the need. The world, not only the country, but the world knows the significant value the vet centers play.
Right.
Once a veteran gets to a vet center, which is often difficult, and I think back on the 12 years I spent at a vet center and some of the reasons and some of the manipulations that veterans would do to preclude coming into a counseling center. And there were a multitude of things that guys would do.
Really?
Yeah. Many guys had the challenge of their wife. Either you get help or you leave.
Right.
Sometimes an employer would give pretty much the same ultimatum. There were guys that literally had to get drunk before the first time they would come to a vet center. I'm talking about in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I think everybody knows and feels that there is going to be some significant pain in the vet center program.
Right.
And there is, but it's good pain.
Yeah.
It's really, really good pain. Rick, we're going to take a break now.
Okay.
And we're going to come back. But when we come back, I want to tell you about some people up north who have an outreach vet counselor program. And I want to talk about it when I come back, because they're really, really doing a great job. Be right back. Stick with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Enjoy your freedom? Support combat wounded veterans. Presented by the Military Order of the Purple Heart. For more information, visit www.purpleheart.org.
Okay, we're back, and we're glad you are too. We've got our vet cam up in the Santa Rosa, California County Veterans Service Office there. This is Dudley, who is a veterans claims worker there, and Richard Jones, who is the president of the VVA Chapter 223, and also chairman for the Cal State Council of the Vietnam Veterans of America. Dudley and Richard, you guys have got something going there, and I want to know what it's about.
Richard and I have worked for quite a few years together, and as a chapter president of Vietnam Veterans of America, and as a life member myself and accredited rep VVA, we've known that there's a big issue in our community of outreach for veterans, especially the homeless ones and the ones that are not able to come into the office. And we got together back in '03, and we started going to the rescue mission. He and his wife had been going there for quite a few years, Pat Joan, and talking to veterans who needed to file disability claims. And I was able to go a couple of nights and do an information outline of what is available, how to seek treatment or get disability claims. They took it further, and they continue to do that, and up to today, going to these rescue missions and outreach for veterans, and are extremely successful in it. There was an article in the San Francisco Chronicle by an individual who felt that more should be done. And the article was so kind of gut-wrenching that I took it to Rich, and we started having meetings in my home along with the American Legion on what we can do to do outreach to make it better. And we started, along with our service officer in 2005, what we put together is a volunteer claims assistant program. And it's something that we put together probably about 15 years ago with Vietnam Veterans of America that just didn't quite make it. And so we revised that, and we have a program that is very successful now in reaching out to individuals in our community to get them to come in or to file a claim and bring it in. And we have volunteers that are doing what we as employees of the County of Sonoma can't do. We just don't have the hours or the output. And it's been a tremendously successful program. And we have the program written, and it's available for people who'd want to start that. And Richard, through Vietnam Veterans of America State Council, is in the process of doing that.
Hey Dudley, Richard, Rick Seaman here. Question, with what you're doing up there with this volunteer program, are there any other county veterans offices in the state or even in the rest of the country that are doing what you're doing up there?
Not that I'm aware of. At this time, we're the only county in California that is working with this. We are in the process of trying to get this information out to other chapters in this state to continue the program with us so that they can reach more veterans in need.
Is it fair to say that you're encouraging other cities and counties and states to pursue the same kind of volunteer program that you're doing? And are you making this aware to other service organizations and veterans organizations alike?
That's correct. We try to enlist their help to the volunteer service. The more volunteers we can get, the more people we can reach. So if this could go nationally, we'd be able to reach thousands of veterans that are out there that have no idea that they are even entitled to claims or help or anything else.
What I'd like to add to that is this is a volunteer, and the county office currently is training the individuals, giving them the information that they need, and it moves from just handing out a form to actually handing out a packet of, if you want to complete the form that are in here, this is what you fill out for a disability, and we have some volunteers that go further than that actually can help sit down and help the veteran complete the paperwork, and they bring it into our office. We submit it to the service organization that this individual wants to represent them. And that organization can be American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Disabled American Veterans, AMVETS, Military Order of the Purple Heart, or they can go through California Department of Veterans Affairs. So it is up to that individual of whom they wish to represent. That is perfectly fine. As a County Veteran Service Office employee, it is a county government agency. Our job is to assist you in completing your paperwork, developing a claim, information, and referral. So we have now volunteers who go in the community to contact the veteran, the dependent, the claimant, for them to contact our office, or some of those volunteers can help fill out the paperwork and bring it in, especially when we're dealing with the homeless veterans who are those that live in remote areas. It's very hard for them to come in, or they're so disabled they can't, but they want somebody to help them in person fill out the claim. That saves the County of Sonoma tremendous amount of money and time and expense for us not to have to go out there to take time away from our office. So it is our right hand that we have volunteers that can bring it in. We can contact the person if additional information or development is necessary, and we're qualified to do it. So our volunteers get the individual, or in some case, help with the paperwork. We get the paperwork, we submit it to the service organization located at the VA regional office. And in our case, that would be in Oakland, California. And when that goes in, the VA develops it, the service organization gives us the correspondence so we know what the next step's going to be and how it's processed. And we're working together as a team. The county takes the responsibility on the liability. When a volunteer signs the paperwork as a volunteer, we are obligated on that, and our volunteer is insured as same as workers' comp on the job, or if there's some problem with that claim. So we try to give them as much training as possible, as much as they're willing to go, as they are. They are a volunteer, but they're also our right hand, and they're extremely immensely valuable to us and our community.
Richard and Dudley, this is outstanding. This is a terrific program. I hope that everybody that watches this will understand the importance of what you guys are pioneering and what you're doing. And I hope it doesn't stay in the local community. I hope it goes national, and everybody really realizes the importance of all the things that you guys are volunteering to do to help veterans. It's great. With that, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Thanks for coming back. We're going to close now with my good special guest, Rick, and all of the things we talked about on service officers. Richard and Dudley, we want to thank them again, and it's been a great show. It's been a great afternoon, and I can't thank you enough, Rick, because your work with these guys is just immeasurable.
Well, same with you, Dave. I mean, you've been doing it for a long, long time. But I enjoyed being here.
It's a pleasure.
Let's
Once
do it again.
more. Okay.
Let's do it again. All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
This is Veterans Network, Veterans News, segment 13. Dave Culmer, out.